Have you ever seen a passenger on a plane who claims that their emotional support animal is entitled to a free seat next to them?
Don't push the horses.
Or the rental applicant who, even before seeing the property, insists that you must accommodate their 4 dogs and 2 cats for free because all of these are ESA certified, obviously.
Dogs. Like dogs.
Oh, dogs.
And today we are talking about emotional support animals. Can you say no? What makes that letter legit? And what are your rights as a landlord? Let's break it down so that the next time someone tells you that their Chihuahua has the same constitutional rights as you are, you'll know exactly how to respond. Hello, I'm Felix. I've managed rental properties long enough to know the following. Some people truly have a need for emotional support animals. Very few of them, to be honest. Others just abuse the system and are trying to pull a fast one on everyone else with their fake documents printed from Google search. They don't even try to make it real. And if you are one of these people who is inquiring on Facebook groups whether you should deny such customer or not and how to do that legally, this video is for you.
Hit it. Attaboy.
By the way, this pertains to everyone else as well, because many people don't know how to act around people with emotional support animals and people who also have trained support animals. And what's the difference? Okay, let's make one thing super clear, because people confuse that all the time. Emotional support animals are not service animals. There is a difference. And the law treats them very differently. A service animal is a dog trained to do a specific task with someone with disability, like guiding the blind or altering the seizures. They are protected with Americans with Disabilities Act, which means they can go anywhere, not just in housing, and no letters are required for those animals. Meanwhile, emotional support animals are not trained to perform any specific task. They are just present. They are protected under the housing law, and they require a valid documentation from a licensed provider. So let's see what the law actually says. Under Fair Housing Act, landlords have to make reasonable accommodations for tenants with disabilities, and that includes ESAs.
That's America's housing market.
You cannot charge pet rent and cannot enforce no pet policy. And you cannot ask for diagnosis either. But that doesn't mean that any handwritten note from some online unregistered doctor from out of state makes any pet an ESA. I really thought this one was going to be an easy video. We'll talk about ESA animals, trained support animals, and that's it. Until I come across this video.
I have a controversial answer to a question I got about emotional support animals, ESA. This is always a hot topic.
No, it isn't, if you know what you're doing.
I self-manage 30 of my properties and I've dealt with this. A commenter said an apartment complex won't approve her application for an emotional support animal and lawyers don't want to help her.
First question I have here, why do you want to get lawyers involved? Nothing has happened. Does she have a valid ESA letter? What was the reason for denial?
Well, the apartment complex is breaking the law.
What?
As I said, you don't know this for sure.
And they can't deny you for this reason. So what can she do? If you believe you'll be treated illegally and unfairly if they know you have an emotional support animal, then don't tell them until after you signed a lease and moved in. Once they know you have an emotional support animal, then you must provide a legal emotional support animal letter. Once you've done this, they cannot evict you, not penalize you, and not charge you extra fees. That being said, worst case scenario, you end up with a pissed off property owner that drags their feet on fixing things, in which case you still need a lawyer to do something about that. I want your thoughts on my advice.
Okay, first thought, don't listen to this advice. It is called fraud to lie on rental application. We don't actually know what has happened with that tenant. They provided the legal documentation for ESA animal. What was the reason of the property management company to deny the letter? And the last but not the least, don't ever do like this guy advises.
Some people are really fucking stupid.
Such advisors usually disappear like orcs in Ukraine. The worst part about it that this guy is not going to be responsible for any of that. He actually advising someone to commit fraudulent activity, lie their way into the property, and then face legal consequences, lease termination at least, or small claims court at worst. Once again, this is not controversial, this is plainly stupid.
Or should we not follow the advice of the galactically stupid?
Don't ever lie on any of your documents. I honestly can't believe this guy manages 30 properties. But if he does, I really wish him to have exactly the same advisors on the other end when he's looking for renters for his own properties. That's only going to be fair. So what makes an ESA letter legit? It must come from a licensed healthcare provider, therapist, psychologist, or a doctor, licensed in the same state as your tenant. It must be on letterhead, signed, dated, and include provider's name, license type and number, and contact information, and a clear statement that a tenant has a disability, and that specific animal alleviates symptoms of that disability. The letter should also specifically reference the need for housing accommodation, not just general emotional support.
Shit.
The most interesting part, how to spot junk ESA letters. Any letter from ESA registry or certificate website, trash. By the way, there is no national ESA registry. It is a business, not a credential. No license information, no state listed, not valid. Letters that don't mention housing, templated or pre-filled, you are not required to honor them. This stuff gets abused constantly. Trust me, I know this. And you don't have to be the next victim of a letter scam. Just Google emotional support animal letter. Actually, I do love this part when some applicant submits a letter and you find exactly the same copy on Google search, just with their name. They don't even bother to change credentials or contact information of the doctor on that form. As I have mentioned in one of our previous videos, the link is going to be somewhere up here. It is not on you to play detective. It is that other person's responsibility to prove to you that their pet is an emotional support animal, and it is on them to provide all verifiable proof. There are some exceptions on when you can legally refuse an ESA animal on your property. You live on site in a building of 4 and fewer units. You are exempt under FHA. The animal causes undue financial or administrative burden. The animal poses a direct threat to people or property. This one must be documented, not just suspected. The ESA letter is invalid, expired, or comes from unqualified source. If you rent single-family homes only, and you have less than 3, and you don't use a broker, that is another exemption for you. Document everything and don't deny out of bias, only for legally supported reasons. In my personal experience, 90% of those applicants disappear right after you ask for a certified ESA letter. And once again, you don't have to accept those who cannot prove their eligibility. So there you have it. Not all ESA letters are valid, and not every claim deserves accommodation. You have the right to request a legitimate documentation and verify its source. The law protects genuine needs and genuine people, not online templates with fake therapist signatures. Thanks for sticking around all the way until the end. Don't be shy, let me know in the comments below what other topics you may be interested to talk about in the future. Take care of yourselves and be especially kind to all the animals. They deserve it. Even the ones who stuck with people faking ESA letters. Don't let those people live in your heads rent-free, and I'll see you in the next one. Papa. Last but not the least, this topic is not controversial. Seriously, be careful with stupid advices online.